Okay, yeah. So, good morning, everyone. Today's class is about mostly real world applications, how to convert designs into the application form. So, for today's class, we're going to create a new app. Let's call our project here, let's say Flutter create Vigo design. So let's create this over here. And yeah, and of course, let's open it. And okay, so yeah, this is it over here. Created a new created a new project so we can translate this design into our application here. We're going to code everything from scratch. We'll be starting from this one here so that you can get a bit of how arrangements work within Flutter. Okay, so at this particular moment, this is what I usually do. I run my project first of all with the default build and everything to make sure that it is running before I start doing any modification. And the reason for that is to get a benchmark to know that yes, the project I created is working fine. So that I won't make some adjustments then try to build and see that yeah, it is failing. But at this particular point, if I build it first and it builds first and I make modifications and it does not build, then I will know that it's from the modifications I did. So we're just going to wait a while for our Flutter project to build. And of course, last week we talked about dependencies, what they are, and how to declare them. So since we're using real life project over here, or we are rather trying to mimic real life projects over here, I'll be using a bunch of dependencies so that you will see how it actually works. So let's let this load. Oh, okay, we have our icon here, profile picture, this, this. Okay, we're going to start with this page over here. Build, 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 build. Come on. While that is building, okay, that's finished building. Yeah, it's going to open it here. Okay, now we can see that, yeah, the project that we created, it can build. So at this particular point, I'm just going to remove all the comments over here. Keep forgetting. I think this is it. Or is this a regular expression for this? Okay. Yeah. Um, each time I want to do this, I keep forgetting it. Let's see. Forward, forward. Why do I keep forgetting you each time? Let's see. Full stop. Forward, forward. No, not you. Let me just quickly Google this name. Each time I know what to do, but I keep forgetting it. Alright. Rejects for removing comments in VS Code. Yeah. I know I always come to this point. I always put one before the other. So full stop and yeah, this is it. I'm going to replace all over here just to remove the comments. And yeah, I think I'm going to do this for here, but no, let me leave this. Okay, so now that we've established that our project can run, We're going to take things step by step over here. Mike, please confirm that you can hear me.
I can.
Okay, so if you go place, let's call this Vigo place demo. Now, this title over here is what shows up here. You know, sometimes in your Android device, once you minimize your application, or rather, minimize it in such a way that it shows you all your previously opened application, you see that each of them they have a name. So
Yeah.
this is the property that is responsible for handling that. So you see here, Vigoplace demo, Vigoplace demo. If I should change it to Vigoplace only, you will see it here, Vigoplace only. Okay. Now trying to create more space for this. Ah, this is better. Okay. Now we're going to delete this our home page. We're going to learn about how to structure our folders. So let's call this home page. Home page, and let's create a home page dot that file in here. Now let's take a look at our design. Now, if we look critically, where should we even start from? Okay, let's start with a simple one over here. Now, if you look at this thing critically, and I'll be asking you some questions, Mike.
No
Looking at
problem.
this design, how do you think this design flows?
From from the scaffold, then it is inside a column. Then after the column, we have row because the Vigo place is in a row. The Vigo place and wallet is in a row. So the row will be inside the first column. That column now is like for the whole page.
Okay.
Then after that row, then we still have a row under because the the profile picture, the profile picture and that button and this option button. Then inside that row now we have a column for the for the name and the time.
Okay, okay. At least you're visualizing how the structure will look like, which shows that yeah, you've been following. So at this particular point, of course, we'll have to export our assets here. The first one is this image, which is Vigo Place. We're going to get 4x. 4x just means the resolution, the original resolution times 4 of it. I usually export it in 4x because it's usually sharper that way. So time to export. Let me find our workshop design. Remember our assets folder. At this particular point, I'm not going to create nested folders. I'm just going to put all my files in here. But for proper arrangement, it is advisable for you to categorize all your images. Now, in certain situations whereby you'll be using SVG and font type, all you have to do is create different folders to specify. And I'm going to show you an example. So Vigoplace logo, let's call this Vigoplace logo. So this is a wallet image here. I'm going to export this also. And you can also export, this is why I like Figma, you can also export the SVG version. Now, once your development is moving further, I would advise you, in fact, from this point, I would even advise you to start using use of SVG for your icons because SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphics. Now, what that means is that no matter the size of the screen, the image fidelity will still remain the same. because SVG does not rely on pixels. SVG relies on mathematical calculations. And I'm going to show you that. So let me just export this as a PNG file. I think it's not carrying these dots over here. So, a sec. This thing can be a bit annoying. So let's see if this carries the dots. Okay, yeah, the preview is over here. So export wallets. Now let me export the SVG of the same file. Wallet SVG. Okay, now let me export. At this point, I'm just exporting my assets.
Okay.
So let's go for profile picture. And yeah, this guy, let's call this guy our trailing button. Three dots, and yeah, let's get this as SVG. Oh no, should let's make it an image. Let's just make it an image. Export menu. Let's just call that menu. And over here we have our image. Okay, we need only the image itself. Let's see. Frame. No, no. Can't I get only this picture? I want only the picture. Yeah, this stuff can be a bit annoying to deal with, but let's see. I'm going to take you away. Take you to away. So yeah, I should have only my image now. Okay, yeah, good. I have only my image now. So I'm going to export you as post image, and I'm going to export my like icon. Scroll down now. Why is this thing not scrolling? Seems my Figma is hanging for some reason. While we wait for this to come up, um, let me let me close it and open it again. Not know what happened there. You can see how time consuming it is for extracting assets.
Yes.
But it's the inclusion of assets that will make your application look good. So while this is loading, I'm going to close this our project here, and I'm going to add my assets folder over here. I'll remember how to do that now using our assets
Okay. Yes.
property over here. So I'm just going to uncomment this, and of course I'm going to add my parts assets slash over here. So yeah, that should do it.
Mm.
Let's check if this thing has finished loading. Okay. Time to find that exact post that I was modifying. Okay, yeah, this is it over here. Okay, I wanted to extract the like button SVG. Let me get this. Let's preview it to know that we got the like one. So like SVG, and we have our comments.
Boss, answer.
Yeah.
When making like when like creating a life app, is it can't you use like the emojis that come that's the emojis, the icons that come with Flutter?
Or you can make use of them, but usually in real life applications, some of
Mm.
those icons do not match with what Flutter has given to you.
Okay,
Yeah. So most
okay,
of the time, I just don't bother searching for that icon.
icon.
I just extract it from the design itself and use it. Don't worry, we are going to compare how the icons look. Okay, so over here we have our pop spec file here, and let me open my assets. Now you would see my assets here, menu. I don't think, can you see it? I have to zoom in. Let me select
No,
another image. Okay, you can see this image, right?
yes.
Because it's a PNG. But once I select an SVG, there's a way I can open my SVG. It's opening it as, let me reveal it. Open revealing. Cha, 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 cha. Let me open it with, let's say, this. There's a way to edit your SVG files. Okay, in fact, Notepad. Why am I even going far? Yeah. Now, you see this like SVG here? This is the code for it. So other pictures makes use of comments. SVG makes use of code to draw the images. So if you expand the width or the size of your SVG files, all these numbers here get updated, which will still maintain the fidelity of that your particular SVG icon. So in other words, you do not lose quality when you make an SVG icon bigger. You know some cases whereby you take a picture and you zoom in and you get
Yeah.
pixelated things. Yeah.
Mm.
But in SVG, you do not get that pixelated format.
Okay.
So that's just one of the advantages of SVG. And in Flutter, Flutter does not have an inbuilt property for handling SVG. So we're going to include our SVG dependency into it. And I think the name is, let me try to see if I can remember the name. Flutter pop add, let's say SVG. Yeah, it's gonna find it. So let's go to our trusted source, which is popdev,
Okay.
and search
Okay.
for SVG. Vector, aha, this over here, Flutter SVG. This is the one I make use of. It's lightweight,
Okay.
simple, and straightforward to use. So let's go for Flutter pop add. I put double P. Flutter SVG. Let's add this. Okay. Now you can see that it has been added over here.
So, but now, when you want to add a dependency, you just like write Flutter add, then the name of the dependency I'm seeing on the top there.
Yeah, you can do it. That's one of the ways you can do it. You can do it in multiple ways. You can also come in here and type it.
No, that way is fine.
Or you like this other way.
This one I will do for you everything already by itself.
Okay. And one of the
Because if you write it by
advantages,
yourself, you can make mistake.
huh?
When you're writing by yourself, you can make mistake with maybe the version or something like that.
The thing is, if you go to the page itself, let's search for, I'm going to add this one. If you go to the page itself and go to the installing section, they will show you exactly how to put it here. All you can do
Okay,
is just
sure.
copy and paste.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you one of the advantages of this over typing it in here manually. Now, with this Flutter hub add, you can add multiple packages at once. So I'm going to add my international and I'm going to add my HTTP packages. Now you can see these two packages have been added.
Mm.
So basically, you do add, you put the name of the package, space, then another package, space,
Okay.
another package, then it adds all of them at once. So sometimes when I'm starting a new project and I have a bunch of packages I always use, I'll just run that command with all their names down there and to just add everything for me. Okay, so we've gotten our menu, post image, and all this goodness over here. So let's go and create our stateful widget, which is our home page. We'll import the necessary products over here and const home page. Now we have our home page here, and of course, we need a scaffold. Child, no, we have a body, which you have said will be a column, abi?
Yeah.
Okay, now that we've gotten this structure in place, now let's run our application over here. Oh, and before that, you see this icon here.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a package that enables you to change your application icon. You can see these other ones, they have their own custom icon. This is the
Yeah.
default Flutter icon here.
Okay.
You can see the F. Yeah, so there's a package for that. And the package is called Flutter native icon, I think along that line. Don't worry, once you encounter any sort of, I wouldn't call it problem, once you encounter things that you do not know, you can search for it, and there's a good community that gives you what you need. In fact, let's even search for it at this particular point. Okay, let's search here. Let's just search icons and let's see. Yeah, launcher icon. You can use this package to generate your launcher icon and also
Okay.
your splash screen, native splash screen. These are packages that you're going to make use of frequently. Okay, so I'm going to run this. We'll wait for it to build. Oh, I won't forget about our image picker or file picker. Okay, yeah. I always like this beginning part of a project where it builds quickly
Mm.
because there's not much for it to compile, so everything just speed runs easily. Okay, and we have our homepage here, which is just a blank canvas for us to draw. So we'll come to our main over here. You would see a banner here that says debug.
But I'm not seeing your cursor.
Oh, can you see my screen?
I see your screen, but your cursor is
Okay,
just
this is
one
my
place.
cursor here.
Okay. Okay, that debug.
Yeah, this is debug over here. Where is this? There's a command that shows, okay, it's in Power Tools. Let me turn on my Power Tools. My Power Toys, rather. Aha. You can see the highlights in Abi.
Yes, I can see
Yeah, you see
that.
this debug label over here.
Yeah.
There's a
Mm.
property that we can use to turn it on and off. So I set this to false and it goes away. And the reason for that particular label is to tell you that if your app is in the debug mode or not.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we have our homepage for us to draw on, the first thing that we'll have to take into consideration is, do we want an app bar first of all on this particular screen. Okay, so let's first of all, there's one other thing I like to do in my project, which is create a separate folder that lets me put in files I'll make use of everywhere. Please give me a moment. The call is coming in. Hello. Hi. Let me call you back. I'm doing the whole to talking. Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, I am back. Okay, as I was saying, I said I'd like to have a file that handles all my assets, dot that, and it's usually a class of my assets. Let me make it a capital A. It makes managing of your assets easy. Const. So over here we have a bunch of files here. So let's look at our, let's say, wallet, which is a string, and we know the part is assets. Please, can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, go.
Wallet dot png. And if you look at this corner over here, you can see the image, Abi.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see the
Small.
image. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
small, but at least it tells you that that's a valid part. Now, if I'm to remove anything here, there is no image here.
Yes. Yes.
So this gives you an idea that, oh, I have found it, or I have not seen it, that kind of thing. So I'm just
Yes.
going to Control Z out. Okay, so let's add the rest of them. Let's add our SVG version. Okay, yeah, and always remember the extension. You saw here that even though we put our wallet SVG, because the extension was not correct, it did not reflect. So always take that into consideration. So we have our comments SVG. Let's go. Comments SVG. Is this available? Okay, no, wrong spelling. Okay, comments, yeah. Comments SVG. We have our like SVG. And okay, let's go for the PNG files now. Although there are some packages that enables you to do this, it generates it for you, but I prefer doing this myself manually because I tend
Okay.
to remember their names when I do it manually than allowing a generator do it for me.
Okay.
So we have post image, have profile picture. Uh, uh, mm, profile picture. We have our Vigoplace. And please always remember that it is case sensitive. So
Oh,
if you are to type Vigoplace logo like this, although it's going to see it over here, but when you want to actually use it, it's going to throw up an error. So always
okay.
remember that the name here is case sensitive. So I think we have added everything over here, have we? So let's create an instance of this my assets. I am sure we all remember creating instances of a class. We touched on
Mm-hmm.
this.
No, no, yes, 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 yes.
Okay. I am just doing this so that it will be cleaner over here. And I'm going to show you why I do
Mm.
this. Okay, now over here at our home page, we've already, or rather, you said that we are going to make use of our column widget, Abby.
Yes.
And you said the first point will be our row,
Yes.
which would take in the image dot
Vigo
assets, and we have my assets dot Vigo place logo.
logo. That should have some of the names here.
Come in.
Don't see.
Okay, there's something not
No, no, yes,
string. Yeah, going to change. So let's say dot wallet. Something it's not right here. Hmm. I mean, why is the instance of aha? Okay, yeah, I'm supposed to just declare all of them. I'm going to show you a trick I learned a while ago. You can see how I selected all of them at this edge here.
yes.
Yeah. In order for you to do that, you have to hold Control, Alt, and Shift,
Control
and I'll
Alt
be
and
able to
Shift.
edit all of them. So instead of me going one by one, one by one, one by one, once
Okay.
all of them are on the same line, you can just do that particular form of edit. Yeah. So over here, I am going to use Vigoplace. Now this should be available. Vigoplace logo, and of course overflow error. But we're going to fix that. We're going to give it a width of, let's say, 60. Let's see what 60 looks like. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Now, you would notice that our
The
icon
Vigo place is inside.
is hanging
Yes.
at this up here. Now the thing
Yes.
is, we do not have an app bar. So if we add this app bar over here, this app bar takes up a space. So now let me give this app bar a color, and let's give it a background color of. Now you can see all this space that
Okay.
the app bar takes.
Hmm.
Um, unless there's another property I would like to show for the app bar. Oh yeah, you can also change the height, which is toolbar height. So let's give it 20 and let's see. You can see it's reduced it. So there are lots of
Okay.
properties within this app bar, which from the beginning of this homepage, I was like, we have to make a decision if we want to
We
include
want a helper or
our app
not.
bar over there or not. Now, looking at this design over here, we can see that, yeah, there is actually no app bar here.
Yes.
So we're going to remove this app bar. But once we remove this app bar, our guy is jumping at this up
Oh.
here. So what are we going to do? We're going to add padding to our
Cool.
to the whole of the column here. Now,
Mm.
as the name implies, padding is simply adding additional space around your widget. And
Yes.
it takes in this particular parameter, which is edge insert. Now, you can do edge insert all, which is add it in four directions, which is your top, bottom, left, right.
Bottom, right,
So if
right.
I put 30 over here, it's going to add 30 down, 30 left, 30,
30, right.
yeah, in all directions. But then again, it has another property which is called only, which you can now define each individual side what you want it to be.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you want your top to be 10 but your bottom to be 5, you can define it at this spot here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So at this point, let's give our top 30 so that it will come down a bit. And for some reason, you can see that this our guy here, our let me change
Time.
this. Yeah, our time colors dot black. Our time here is hiding.
Okay.
There's a property for that. It should be under the theme. I can't really remember the name, but it will be under the theme, sha, where you get to set the color for each of these things here. Yeah, there are properties for a lot of things. So we're going to go back to this. Let's remove this one here. At this point, we are not going to concern ourselves with this time over here. Now we're going to give this guy, let's still give it 40. Let it come down a bit. Okay, let's give it 70. Let's say, aha. Okay. Now you can see our logo is at the edge here. We don't want it to be at the edge. So let's give it left of 20. Give our right 20. Yeah, so it's over here. Now here, our guy is a bit small. Let's make it bigger. Let's look at our design. You can see our design here. This guy is quite big.
Yes.
So let's give you 120 and let's see how that goes. Okay, this is looking like it now. Now over here, we're going to have our, now, our wallet icon here.
Oh, let's find icon. Yes.
And over there, you would notice something here. It has, you're seeing this gray border
Gray circle.
color. Yeah, the gray circle.
Yeah.
Now in Flutter, we have something called our circle avatar. This is our circle avatar over here. That's why I say we have virtually widgets for virtually everything. Now, of course, it's inside our row, but our design over here shows us that it is at the end.
And of the road.
So we're going to separate our two widgets inside our row by using the property main dot space between. Now you see it has
Okay.
pushed it to this end here.
To the edge.
Yeah. Now let's look at our avatar property and see the properties that we can get from this. Now over here, you will notice our design says that our circle must have a gray
Border.
border, abi?
Yes.
But looking at this circle avatar over here, we are not seeing a gray border. Abi?
Yes.
Now, this is where ingenuity and presence of mind will come into play here. Flutter may not give you exactly what you need, but it gives you tools for you to create what you need. And I'm going to show you an example. We can use a container to get that effect. So over here we have our container. Let's specify height 40 with 40. Let's give it color of, let's say, colors dots red, just to show that it's visible. You can see that it's here, Abi. But now remember we have that decoration for our container, in which we can change the shape to a circle. Now let's give it a color of, let's say, still red inside our box decoration. And you can see that, yay, we have a circle now, Abi,
Yes.
using the container. Now let's look at this color here. Let's select this color. And sometimes I don't like it when this thing is like this. Give me the exact color. Okay, I think this is the color property here. It's in hex. Flutter has several ways in which you can define the color of a property. You can do it in RGBO format, which stands for your red, green, blue, and opacity.
Yes.
You can do it in your hex format, which we just copied right now. So let me show you the hex format, how it goes. Color this, then you add your hex code. You can see the color here, Abi. Let me do this. It's faint, but you can see it, Abi.
Yes.
Yeah. Now let's give this a constant. Now this is where the ingenuity comes from. Now we're going to put a child in here, which is also a container. Just basically, we're going to have a copy of this guy inside. And let me copy this guy, child. Let me put you. But now, let me change this color over here to colors dots red. And the reason why I like using red is just as that it will pop and show that, okay, yeah, we are where we are supposed to be. Now, let
Yeah.
me reduce this guy a bit to, let's say, 35, no, 35 and 35. I think I need to change this color here so that we can actually see
Yes, so we can
effect.
see. Yes.
Yeah, so colors dot gray. Let's make this a gray or black. Aha. Now let me also reduce this further. I don't know if you can see it, but you're seeing the form of black thing around it, Abby. Let me
Yeah, around the red. Yes.
yeah, let me reduce to 25. Let's say 25 again. Let's see. You're still not reducing. Okay, let me center you and let's see what will happen. Aha. Now, these things can be funny. Now you can see this our big black over here. Now we're going to
Yes.
adjust these our properties one by one to see which one will be the closest to it. Aha.
Okay.
So I can change this my property here to white. Now you can see we've already gotten this particular
This,
field
yeah.
here. And let me minimize just by using two containers. So I'm going to, but you can see that the thickness is still thicker. So let me
Thicker,
increase
yeah.
this to like let's say 37, and you'll be doing this thing a lot. These minute adjustments. So now that we've gotten our proper border, let's look for that our hex value over here. And you can see, voila, we have gotten this
Yes.
just by using two containers. And did someone just join?
Mm.
Back in. Just by using those two containers, you can see that we've gotten this property that we are looking for. So now we're going to declare our wallet image inside here. So let's say image.assets.
Good afternoon, boss.
Yeah, back here, welcome. Now you can see our wallet is in here. But now there is one other thing that's which is quite funny. We can actually put this in here and just reduce. Let me reduce this so you will see what I'm talking about over here. Let's say width of let's say 20. Let's give it. Let's centralize you because you will be at the center. Okay. Let's give you 30. Now let's check our design. Okay, this guy should be slightly bigger. So let's go for 50. 50. Okay, let's go for 47. Abby? Let's go for
Yes.
47. 47 too. Okay, now we can make this guy bigger here. 35. Okay, yeah. Okay. I wanted to say something. Now, like this works. This particular code, it works.
Mm.
But then again, in Flutter, you can convert your image to an icon. Remember, we already have. Let me show you what what I'm talking about here. So let's say we have this property here, icons, and let's say icons dot wallet. Let's see if they have, okay, they have a wallet. Now you can see they have a wallet, but it doesn't look like our own wallet.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I told you that most times just export what is in the design and use it. Now, with this icon property, you can change the color to, let's say, colors dot red. You can change your icon to whatever color that you have. But now, if you're using our image assets, you can't change that color. Even though it has a color property. Let's see if this one will change. So let's say colors dot red. Okay, it's actually changed. But in some cases, it doesn't change. And
Okay.
also, if you want to use an image as an icon, there is a widget for that, and it's called image icon. And it takes in an image provider, which will be our asset image, which now takes in a path, which is the path to our assets, which is this here. Now, with this image icon over here, it gives you the properties of an icon while you're using an image from your assets. Now, let's look at this image icon over here. Let's look at the properties. Key, size. Remember, size, color. Now, let's declare, let's say, U icon. Let's go for icon. Now, let's look at our icon properties. Let's say icons dot reddit. Let's close this. Now you would see size, color, basically similar properties. Remember, your image, when you're declaring your image, what controls the size of your image is your height and your width, Abi.
Yes.
But when it comes to your icon, there's just one single property that does it, which is size. So using this image icon, you can just use that singular property size to increase it to, let's say, 40, and it increases. Instead of you tweaking your height, your width, you can just convert that your image into an image icon and just give it one value here. And of course, we can use the color property to give it colors dots, let's say blue. Yeah. Okay, so moving on, let's keep this to 35. Okay. Now we can see that it's looking similar to what we have. You can see it, Abi. So now let's move on to the next one. And yeah, once you start writing code, it becomes a bit cumbersome, as in with lots and lots and lots of lines. So what I usually do is that I create a function for each section. So now let's take out this, our header here. Let's create a function that returns a widget, because it actually returns a widget, and name it header, and it returns this over here, and then we can now call it here header. Now you can see this right here is cleaner than what we already have. Are you guys following?
Yeah.
That here is
Yes.
weak.
Oh yes, yes. Sorry.
Okay. Let's just put in a constant here to take away that. Let's push this up a bit. Okay. Now, what do we have next? We have this
Yes.
particular one. So let's go for it. Remember, in the real life scenario, this here mimics a list of posts, Abi.
Yes.
What that means is that it is your post that will be scrolling while your
Mm.
wallet icon and your Vigoplace remains the
Yes.
same. Abi?
Yes.
And in order for us to do that, let's create a space. Let's give it size box height of 20. And let's take a look at this design again. Okay, there is no separator. Now, what we're going to look at here is this our first line. Usually in your design, you take things one after the other. So we've taken care of this one over here. Now we're going to take care of this next one over here. And as we can see, it is a row. It uses a row because of the movement from left to right. So here we have our row with children. We have our image. Oh, we have our image assets. Now, there's one other trick. It's not really a trick, Sha. It's a principle called do not repeat yourself. So if you find yourself repeating, let's say, a particular function all over and all over again, it's just best for you to create a function that will be handling that. So let me show you what I mean over here. So over here, you can see that we've written image.assets. And we are about to write image.assets again. Abi?
Yes.
Now, what we can do in this situation is create a function. Let's call it image assets. Now, what this image assets takes is the path to your assets, and let's say optional parameter of height. Let's have this guy. Okay, height, and also optional parameter of width. Yeah, it can be null, and we return our image.assets, which takes in the path here. Now we can use this function over here. These are image.assets. This is a widget, so it returns a widget. You can decide to explicitly declare that or not. It really doesn't matter. But yeah, I just like doing that for proper reading sake. So over here, we're going to migrate this our repetition into this function here. So let's paste in our path here. And of course, we declared our width here to be 120. And of course, we put our comma. And here we put our image assets profile picture over here. Okay, width. You can see that this guy became big. So now let's go back to our function and check. Okay, looking at this particular thing, now who can tell me what is wrong? Remember, we created a function that will be handling our image assets. That all so that we don't have to start repeating image assets every single time. So at this particular point, we've passed in our width parameter into this function, but it is not affecting our image.assets. Who can tell me why?
Final alpha. Boss, I have no idea. I'm not gonna lie.
Our image.assets takes in a parameter called width, but we are not passing this value into it. So over here we have here width, and we pass width into it. Then watch the magic happens. See, everything has adjusted. But this other guy over here, we've not passed in our width parameter. So we are going to pass in width here, and let's give it a, let's say a 50. Let's see what 50 looks like. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Woo! Now we're going to use a size box and give it a width property of, let's say, 10. Now, you've seen also that I've repeated size box here. to add a height distance. And now I am using a size box here to add a width distance. What I can do is create a function, let's say vertical space, that takes in a double called height. Let's give it an initial value of 1 and it returns a size box. Height, height. And we're going to do the same for our horizontal space. But this time, instead of height, it's going to be width and width over here. So now we're going to replace this, our size box here, to its appropriate one, which is vertical space of height 20. And you can see the essence of doing this. You no longer have to deal with this constructor thing. Now over here, we're going to do our horizontal space and give it width of 10. Now, looking at the design again, we can see after our profile picture, we have two guys over here, or rather two widgets over here that tells us either the person's name or their username and how long the post was created. And since those two widgets are up and down, what that means is which widgets are we going to use for this one? Baki.
Robots.
Yeah. I asked the question now. So which widgets are we going to use for this site?
Seriously, I just joined the class. I'm not following up yet.
This is something that we treated last week now, so it does not matter whether you're just joining now. We are trying to recreate this particular design into our application. Now, Michael said our application moves in a vertical manner, which is up to down. So we started here declaring our column. Now we declared our row over here to handle here, and also our row to handle this widget. So we put in our profile picture image. The next thing now is to handle these two widgets. So which widgets are we going to use that will enable us to put these two widgets in a vertical space?
That single child scroll view, bro.
Are you asking me?
No, I'm asking as a single child scroll view.
Why am I using single child scroll view for these two widgets here?
So that it will be able to be scrollable upward.
You want Spark Nation and 3 hours ago to be scrolling. Where will it be scrolling to?
Maybe you stack it on top of the stuff.
On top of what stuff? This is our.
So basically, container. We can use container to solve the problem there.
What is the problem?
To have what is it called? The profile, the time. Please go back to the Figma. Yeah, I want the name to show and the time. So inside you can use a container, and inside the container, then you can declare a column inside the container. Then you can have for the image you can have a circle avatar with this which called circle avatar. Then for the name and the time you can have it can be column. Then for that this thing that is at the side, that three cognito button is that three hamburger. So that one could be on a row. That will be on a row.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's what you're going to do. Our image is already here, which is this one here. So let me comment it out so that you see that it's gone. We put it back. And the next one now is to declare our column and put in our text, which is Park Nation. You can see it over here. I think we need more space, more width, horizontal space. Wait. Okay. What can we overhead? Then put this width parameter. Yeah, better. Okay. And let's create a text widget. The principle is do not repeat yourself. So over here we have here text widget, which takes in a string, which is our text, and returns our text property for us, text. And remember, our text widget, we have what we call styling, which enables us to style our text. So text style. Now this text style enables us to give it color, size, whatever you want to style your text with. So I'm going to add, okay, I'm just going to come here first of all and show you. So style, we have here text style. Now we can look at our font size. If we make it 30, you see it has become bigger. Let's look for our font color. You've changed your color. Let's look for our font weight. Font weight is just simply the thickness of it. If we give it, the higher the number, the thicker it is. 700, you can see it's very thick. But if I move it to, let's say, 200, you can see it's very light. So this is our styling for text. Now, since we do not want to constantly repeat this boilerplate over here, we're just going to create a function that handles all this. Now, over here, we'll have our optional parameters such as our font color. We have our double, which will be our size. Let's just give it font size. And the more we find different text widgets that requires different, what do you call it, different properties, the more we add properties into this place. And of course, don't forget to also pass in those same properties into where it needs to go to. So over here, we're passing in our font size back, and color, we're passing in our color into this point. So I don't need to call this whole text, what is to call it? This text widget and declare style again. Okay, now at this particular point, if I should go down and say, let's say vertical space of, let's say, 3, and I want to now put my hours, the last time, the time that post was created, let's give this guy 400. We are now going to do this again. Text 3 hours ago. We'll now have to do this again like this. Style. Now have to do text style. You now start have to do font color. You can see that you're repeating yourself with the same boilerplate code all over and all over again. But declaring it like this now, all I have to do at this point is just do my text widget, which takes in this property here is not optional, it's a compulsory property. Spark Nation. It's over here. Now we can now declare the properties that we want for Spark Nation. So now let's take a look at it. Spark Nation, not much properties going on here. So I think we're going to just increase the font size to, let's say, 16. Okay. I think this is fair enough, Abi.
Yes, it seems fair enough.
16. And I think it's a bit thicker, Abi.
Peter. Yes.
It's a bit thicker. So since now we need this text widget to be thicker, we've not declared the property here. So now we're going to add it here. So font weight, I need my font weight here. We've added it and pass it into where needs it, which is font weight. Now we can come here and add font weight. These names, you can call it anything you want to. All these names here, you can call it anything you want to. But then again, let it reflect what you are trying to do. I can call this just size. But if you're new to the code base and you come here and you just adjust size, you'll be like, what is size? Until you trace where I am using size. Not like, oh, size is actually being passed into font size. So over here, font weight, I'm going to pass a thicker version. Okay. I think we should reduce it a bit to 15. Okay. Now, we are going to give it a vertical space of, let's say, height of 5. And another text widget of 3 hours ago. Okay, I think this space is too big. So let's reduce it to, let's say, 2. Okay, this is better. But now from our design, we can see that 3 hours ago is a different color to Spark Nation.
Yes.
So now let's get the color of this guy. The hex is this. So we copy the hex. And we are going to give it color. And you can see now, this one, I don't need to create this text style again and start writing all those boilerplates. I just pass the color and it reflects. So we give this constant, and we can see here that there's a bit of gap over here. Shebi, now you guys should answer me.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
And it is happening within our column. So we have to push all our widgets to the end using our cross alignment start. Now it has pushed it and everything is aligned.
Yes.
In fact, let me remove this vertical space and see if, okay, I think we are good like this. So far so good. We are getting closer. You can see. I think this Spark Nation needs to reduce the thickness. Yeah, we need to reduce that thickness. So over here, let me just reduce it to 400 and see. Okay, I think this is better now. Let me reduce you to 14. Okay. And font size, let me reduce you to 13. Okay. Yeah, you see this is looking good now, Abi?
Yes.
Now the next thing here is for us to push this last guy to the end. Remember, these two sections, they're at one side. This guy is at this other side, Abi?
Yes.
So how
Yes.
are we going to do that? Who has an idea?
Already the from the this thing, from the profile picture. Let me see where you declare the profile picture. Okay, the profile picture is already in a row now. So now you have to come out of this column for the Spark Nation. And yes, there. That is where you put that other one. Then you have to now.
Let's say our image assets. Let's go image assets menu. Abi?
Yes.
But look at it, it's here.
You have to create that space that you created with this.
With our header. So let's go to our header and see. You're talking about this over here.
Cross alignment, yes, space between.
Okay, now let's use this property. Let's hit it and let's see what will happen.
Amen.
Bros, if you are going to use size. If you're using, I don't know whether you're using size box, not horizontal.
I'm using size box now. I use size box for spacing, which is here for my horizontal space and my vertical space because I did not want to.
Apply icon for the menu icon.
What?
Apply it for the menu icon.
Tell me how to apply it. You can't just say apply it. Applying what exactly?
Yes, now you said how can we move this menu icon to the last end, Abby?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Now, me, I'm saying, okay, after the column there, where you have the image asset, after there, then me, I was thinking you should apply the size, if you apply the size box there, horizontal, and you give it the space, won't it take it down to the other end?
Give it what space? You need to see, Baki, you can't be giving umbrella terms because if you say give it the space, what space? Okay, how am I? Okay,
Yes, I don't.
what am I supposed to type?
Something.
Okay, just tell me what to type here. I have put in my size box. Okay, okay. What next?
Okay, inside the size box, horizontal.
There's no horizontal property inside my size box here now. These are width, height, child. No horizontal.
But it seems that this what's it called? This dependency gap, it has a horizontal.
Are we using the dependency?
Oh, I thought you said we are going to try it last time.
Gap? No, I did not say we are going to use gap. I said we are going to use dependencies. I did not say we are going to use gap dependency.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Wait, were you wait? Were you? What's the word again? Were you depending on gap to solve this thing for you?
I have used gap for
Wait
a long
now.
time. That's why.
Were you depending
Gap.
on gap to solve this thing for you?
Yes.
Why? Why are you depending on the package to solve a spacing problem for you? See, you're sounding like one of those people that will import a package just to check if a number is even or odd, or if to check if a value is true or if it is false. But don't worry, all these things will come with experience when you play around with all these things. So there are several ways we can do this thing. And just like I keep saying in programming, there are several methods for you to achieve the same result.
Boss, hold on, please. I'm still thinking.
You're still thinking,
How about
okay.
if we, yeah, cross-axis alignment
Inside where?
within the image asset, so that you'll be able to move it to if the cross-axis alignment, then it will be to end. Then we now say dot end, so that you can move the menu icon to the last end.
Where are we putting? Are we putting in row, column, or where? Where are we putting the cross-axis alignment?
Cross-axis alignment. We are putting it immediately after column.
After which column? This column.
Yes.
Your main axis alignment column doesn't enter here. That was what we did here the first time now. Were you not looking? This was what we did now. Space between them. Which gave us this.
Hello.
Yeah, Mike. I
Yeah,
can
I'm
hear you.
Okay. I need to talk also.
Oh. Okay, yeah. So, Baki, if we add our main axis alignment into our row and do this, it's going to take us there. Let's say end. It's pushed everything to the end, which is this. So if we say start, which is by default, that's the default. It pushes everything here. If we say center, it pushes everything to the center.
Take everything to center.
The idea
Can,
here,
can we
the
wrap the image asset? Can we wrap the image asset with another widget?
yeah, you can.
Okay, let us wrap it with a row.
Okay. Okay. What next?
Then add your processing elements dot end.
He did not move.
Save and save. How to restart?
It will not move. It's not going to move. Even if I hot, okay, let me hot restart. It's hot restarting. Yeah,
Ah, my
hot
code is not working.
So when you are dealing with all your widgets here in terms of structure, at the back of your mind, you should be calculating how the space moves. Okay, so when I was learning how all these things work, there was one particular trick that I developed personally. I still use it now. And the trick is I create a container and I give it a color to see the spaces that are available for my widgets to move. Okay, now in this particular scenario here, you said, okay, let's wrap this our image assets with a row, Abi. Now, let's see the space that this guy is taking in. Remember, your widget can only move in a space that is available. Okay, now let's wrap this guy over here. Okay, in fact, let's wrap the whole row with a container and give it a color of, let's say, colors dots red. This is the whole space that is row is taking.
That you don't have.
That is why it cannot move to this end, because it does not have that space to move to that end. Now, let's give this guy a width property. Let's increase the size. Let's give it double dot infinity. Let's see. Aha, I've encountered an error. Now let's check. It's going to tell me a bunch of, I know this one. It's going to give me a bunch of layout error. Yeah. Box constraints infinite. But don't worry, we're going to solve it. It's all part of the learning process. Now let's remove this other one. We are still within this space, Abi. Okay. Now let's expand. We remember I expanded widget, Abi?
Yes.
That takes in all the available space.
No, available space.
And let's expand it. Now we can now see that this our row here can now move within all this space, because there's now a space for it to move. And Baki, your mistake was using cross axis. This is a row widget. Your cross axis for your row widget moves up, down. Meanwhile, your main axis moves left, right. So we're going to change this to our main axis. And let's move it to end. And we can see here, it has moved to the end. Now, just briefly, you can see how I made use of container and coloring to see the spaces available for my widget, so I can know how they can move around. Now, if I did not do this thing now, we will just be guessing what we are supposed to do, what we are supposed to do, what we are supposed to do.
Okay, hello, boss. That means that without the container, we will not be able to solve the problem, bah?
No, there are several ways you can solve the problem. This is way number one. I'm going to show you several ways.
Okay.
Let me comment this guy out. Let me just title it number one method. I wouldn't call it number one method, I will call it anyhow method. Because it's really an anyhow method. So
yeah, the code is.
Yeah. So the next one and this one is what I would recommend that you do. Now let's look at the design here. The design puts two widgets at one corner and puts one widget at that end, Abi. What that means is that, okay, how can we segregate two widgets to be at one spot, but one widget to be at this other side? We can easily do this by creating another row widget inside a row. Let's give it to children, and let's move all of them inside here. Now, I think, okay, yeah, the comma is missing. Now,
boss,
yeah,
I have something I want to ask before I forgot to, I beg.
okay.
Sorry, when I was on Vigoplace app this morning,
Mm-hmm.
I messaged somebody, right? I messaged somebody. Like, I have to go and search for the person's name again to also re-message him. There's no place I could just go to and see all the people I am messaging or all the people that are responding to my message in form of chat. Then see all your chat, who is responding and who is not responding.
There's a chat in Vigoplace.
And yes, I know, but what I'm saying is that, like, I could not, okay, like, I have to search. Abi, is it there?
Is this not where you're referring to? Did you come to this
No,
place?
no, I did not come here.
Oh yeah, there's a chat section here now. So this
Okay,
is
so I'll
yeah,
check
this is
it.
where it is here. This
I
icon here.
forgot. Okay.
So once you tap on it, it comes here. You can see your request. If somebody you don't know sends you a message, it comes to this section. And over here you have your messages. I think the server is a bit slow, that's why it's taking time. And if you click on add, you can search for what's your username on Vigoplace?
Abdul Baki, ABDULBAQI.
Let's just search for Abdul.
BAAQ.
Don't worry, we'll say all the Abdul. I think, yeah, we need to do something about this as server speed. Are you AK77?
I said we need to do something about people.
This is Mr. Paul. Yeah, I'm going to message him. But either way, you get the whole. Okay, just continue first.
Okay, BAA. That's me.
Okay,
That's
this is
me.
you. Okay, this is Abdul. Under Vigo brand, which of them? This is your main one, I this
Yeah, exactly.
one. Okay, so let's select it. Now I can send you a message. Hello, Baki. You can check your app if it's there.
Okay.
So yeah, you can see this is my chat history here. You're already here.
Okay.
Yeah. So you don't need to be searching for the person constantly. Just come to your messages here and you're going to see it.
But this time,
The time is correct now. Look at it now.
as
12.
in, look at the last person message. Is it today?
Oh, this guy, what's his name again? Chiboy.
The Kelechi Nwosu.
Chiboy, that's Chiboy.
No, because I'm talking about the last person. That Kelechi Nwosu. That
Okay, this person.
yes,
Okay,
Is
yeah,
it
it's
today?
supposed to specify dates. Yeah.
yes,
Let's
this specified date.
I'm going to check on that. So if it's not today, it will show you the date and the time. But if it's today's date, it's just going to show you the time. Yeah, thanks. I'm going to check on that. Okay, now that one is resolved, let's get back to this. Yeah. So over here, what I would personally do is, since we want to segment our widgets, I'm going to create another row widget in which I keep the two that I want to be at one spot. Then I come here and do main space between. Watch it happen. So Michael, you were actually correct when you suggested space between, but you did not put into consideration that you have more than two widgets. Now, this space between works well when you are segmenting two widgets. So at this particular point, what I did is widget number one, this widget number one here, and this is widget number two. That's why it separated both of them.
But I'm gonna pray and come back.
You what?
I have to go and pray and come back.
Okay. Um, right now.
Just continue, no wahala. I'll watch the video. Wait.
Okay, no problem there. Okay. We are even almost done at this particular point. So yeah, so this is what I would do. And now let's look at our and what this gives me. Okay, what this gives me, yeah, in totality is that let me open. Okay, let me leave that one. Let me leave that one because we do not have an extended text
Okay.
here, but still. So we have dealt with this particular top here. So we're moving over to the next side, which is our text. Let's say vertical, our height will be 10. And let's look at our design. So our design puts a faint line over here. Abi?
Yes.
Now, there are several ways again you can do this line. The first line is by using a widget called divider. Now, once I add my
Okay.
divider, yeah, you can see the line here. Abi.
Easy line.
That's what
Okay.
divider does. And of course, it takes in a color. And we already have this color. In fact, I am tired of typing this color all over again. So let me make it a variable. Custom gray. Do not repeat yourself. That's what I am teaching you. So instead of me constantly typing this all over and all over again, I'll just replace it with this variable here. Custom gray. So I come here, pass in custom gray. It's a bit, what's the word? It's a bit darker. Sometimes it can do like that. So let's look for colors dot gray property. Okay, it's still a bit okay. Now let me introduce you to a very good property that I like using. Even though it's darker like this, you can still reduce the vibrancy of a color by adding opacity parameter. So now let me give it a 0.3 opacity. You can see now that it's fainter.
Okay.
Now, if I put in another one again, or let me put it to 0.1, it's really faint. Let me give it 0.5. Now, what you have noticed so far is that all these widgets that I'm introducing to you, we won't touch it if we are just saying, oh, let's be taking widgets by widgets.
Yes.
That was why I kept on saying that the only way you can learn your widgets is by you constantly building. That is when you will know what each widget does and how you can apply them. Now, we have used our divider for this, but we can also use another method using our trusted container.
That's
you
one
can,
trusted
you
container.
can basically use container for most things. But let's
Okay,
see.
you just put the container, then you reduce the height of the container, give it a color.
Yes. You are not getting the vision. You are getting the vision.
Yeah.
So let's give it a height of 1. Give it our width to be double dot infinity, which means cover all the space.
Cover the space.
Then give it color of this over here, and let's see. Basically the same thing.
Yes.
But instead of writing all this plenty code, you just use already made one,
Divider.
which is your divider. And of course, your divider, you can also increase the height. Let's give it 20. And of course, you can increase the thickness. Let's give it 20 again. Yeah. And now we come to the big guy here, which is this whole text. Now we're going to bring in our text widget. We're going to copy all this text. It's string post text. I don't want to put it inside here because a lot of
Inside the
text,
text.
and I don't want
Yes,
it to
yes.
just scatter everywhere. So over here, we're going to put this here, post text. Now you can see how we are just declaring variables and we are using those variables inside places.
Okay, this is it.
So yeah, we have our text over here. But now let's look at it here. Um, okay, I think next class we're going to talk about fonts, how to use custom fonts.
Oh, okay.
Because over here you can see that this font type is different from
It's
this
different.
font.
Yes.
And over here, now let's take a look at some properties of our text. Now, our text can have an alignment. Aha, Mike, have you done your final year project?
No, I've not done my final project.
But have they given you guys assignments where you have to type?
And they will give us assignment, but it is that they can give you assignment and the same lecturer will tell you to give him money to do it for you. That kind of thing.
Okay, okay. Well, once you start doing your final year project, your project is supposed to follow a particular format using Times New Roman, using justification as the text alignment. So over here, text alignments, I'm going to show you some of the properties. So you can first of all centralize it. What that means is going to centralize our text like this.
No, I know text alignment because I do type. I type our blog now, so I
Okay,
align the-
I keep
Yes,
forgetting. Yeah, so you are so good. You have our text alignment property. Now, due to the fact that this our post now requires us to have justified text here, but we don't want these other guys to be justified. Now we are going to add a new property in here. Text align. And let's call this one align text, just to show that it is different, and we'll pass it into this side. So now over here, we're going to give it our align text. We're going to justify it. Meanwhile, others that we don't want them to be justified will not be justified,
No.
even though we are using the same widget here.
Yes.
So we just add properties based on our use case and move it along. Now, the next one will be our image itself, which is our post. Our image assets.
Yes.
Now, Michael, did you notice something? When I want to use any of these images, I am not going through the stress of doing, where is this part to assets slash, where is this one? That's because we have already declared everything here. So anytime we just need it, we just call our class that we've instantiated and just the name here, and voila, we have it. So this right here is way cleaner than me constantly typing all these guys one by
Typing all
one,
these
one by
things
one,
inside. Yes.
which will even waste my time. So now we have our guy here, Abby.
Yes.
Now, based on our design, we have
We have another divider before the image.
where? I'm not saying it.
Did you not do that? Okay, there's no divider. I thought there was divider.
Let me move. Can't move this guy here. Yeah, it was that time that it froze. Why is Figma even freezing to start with?
Figma is a big file. It's a big apple. Yeah.
Yeah, but today's one is just this is the first time that my Figma is. Oh
I
shit.
remember that my old system. Figma will keep on.
Figma will freeze.
Nothing to work again on your PC.
Okay, now let's move this guy over here. Okay, now let's get it to look like this. Now, what did you notice? Everybody is aligned perfectly here with the same space. With the same space. I mean,
Yeah.
And that's because we declared our padding here for everybody. Our left to be 20, our right to be 20. Now we can try to make our right 40. Now you can see here has more padding and this other
Last
side.
is yeah.
So yeah. In some cases, you would require in some designs, you see the top part does not have padding, but the bottom part has padding. In that kind of situation, you would have to think about how to apply your widget structure for you to actually get that look. Now over here, we can see our image, this image here, Abi.
Yes.
Now, and we can notice that there are things on top of this image. And if you want to place things on top of things, we make use of a widget called a stack.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to call it stack. And a stack looks like
Yes,
a
is it here
column.
you're going to put the stack? I thought the stack would be on top of, like before this you're putting it. I don't know how to put this one up. Okay. Well, this one is the this thing now, is the access for the menu now. That is above the main text of the post. Oh. That's where you're putting the stack.
I am putting a stack on this asset here.
Okay.
So therefore, anything I want to do will be happening on top of this guy here.
And that's what I'm saying now. This my asset dot is my asset dot menu, not my asset dot.
Oh, sorry. Ah, see me. Sorry. It's supposed to be here, post image.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Aha. You cut that one. Okay. Now, let's do some declaration over here. Container. And this is what I like doing at the initial stage. I'll just put some random properties and let me get the position of things. Color, let's say colors dot red. You can see that it is on top.
Mm.
Now the question is, how do we make this? How do we make this into
Does the
this?
container have a transparent property?
Yeah, it does. Don't worry, we are going to take it small. In fact, this is what I will do. I'm going to do one, then the remaining will be assignments. You will have to complete this one, and this other one.
You send the file.
Yeah, I'll send what I've already coded.
Okay.
So over here, we've already gotten our position here, Abi. Now let's use an alignment widget, align. And let's give it alignment of, let's say, top right. Abi, that's where it's headed. Okay,
Okay.
moved it here. Okay, and we can see that it is coming this up here.
Yes.
It's coming this up, and we don't want it to come. So what are we going to do?
We'll pad it.
Thank you. Container has within itself a padding parameter, so we don't need to even wrap it on top. So we give it padding of, let's say, only the top. Give the top, let's say, 20, and it's only the right that I want to pad to. Give it a 20.
20.
Okay, you did not work. Let's change to margin. Let's see. Aha. Okay, within the container, margin acts around the widget. Padding acts within the container widget.
Okay.
So const here. Now over here, we're going to remove this color property because we want to give a decoration property. So box decoration. And what are we looking for here? Based on the design here, the box itself is transparent, but the border is not transparent. So we're going to find our border property, which is this one over here. Then we'll give it our border.all. Then we give it a color, and let's find the color property. Color property. This is it here. You can see now we've gotten our,
Correct.
yeah, our border property, and also our width should be long, and our height should be like, let's say, 40. See how
Yes,
everything is
40.
coming along, Abi.
Yes.
Now, we also noticed that.
But 40 is smaller.
Please give me a moment. The call is coming in. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Good afternoon. I did find out. The weekend is okay. Yeah, it's looking like it. Yeah. Okay. Um, just one moment. Can I call you back later? I'm in the middle of a meeting. Okay. Um. Yeah. Sorry about that. So let's just round this thing up. Okay. Over here, we have gotten our border color here. So the next thing is this curve over here. Now let's look for the property that handles this curve. Now border, check our border, all, color, width. Now let's look for the property that handles border curvature. Shape it's not border radius. Mike, are you following?
Yes, boss.
Okay. Now we are going to add some curvature to our border using our border radius property. And you can see it takes in a border radius of dot all. You can specify sha. Each time, I want you to take notice. Yeah, I
Sorry.
forgot.
Sorry.
Yeah, let me get water. Coming. Okay. Each time you come across a property that has a dot all method,
Sorry.
what it means is that you can shit. I beg, give me a moment.
No problem. Sorry. Sorry.
Oh. Aha. Anytime you come across a method that has a dot or property, it means that you can specify specific places of that property. Just like in our padding, there was a dot all.
Yes.
But after your dot all, you can use dot only to specify which sections you want
Yes.
the effects to happen. On this other side, you have dot all, which affects everywhere. Let's take a look at it first. Radius dot circular, and let's give it a curvature of 20.
I just come back. Oh.
Huh?
I said, I just come back. No.
Okay, okay, welcome back. Now, Mike, you can see that this curvature now, 20, affects all four sides.
Yes.
But now, let's say for some reason you only want the curvature to happen to a specific side. Then we move to dot only. Then we have top left. Now you can see that it only affects, okay, there is a red line somewhere. Okay, I need to put in this
Um,
and this. Oh, wow. Let's see what's up. Opening an identifier. Just give me a moment. I'm going to fix this. Why? Okay, okay. Going to remove. I don't like dealing with this other radius dots. Only, okay, top left, dot circular, and I'm going to give you 40. Now, you can see it's only my top left. Let me reduce it. You can see that now it's only my top left that effect happened on.
yes.
Yeah, so that's one thing that you should always keep an eye on. Anywhere you see dot or, that means that it has a dot only property whereby you can only affect only a section that you want.
Yes. Yes.
Same thing with here, dot or. For this dot or here, all you have to do is remove the or and you have your see border here, top, right, this. Don't worry, the more you do it, the more you see the pattern. Now I'm going to give it a curve of 10 for all of them. Let's say radius dot circular. I'm going to give it a 10.
I might not expect.
Now we are getting there. Let's still make it a 5 because it's not all that obvious. Const. Now we can see that we are gradually getting to our design. Now inside here we have our child,
Which is
which
a 10.
which is a row of widgets, which is children, text widgets, contributors, Abi.
Yes, contributors.
Let's see contributors. Okay, view contributors and a arrow sign. View contributors and let's say horizontal space width of let's say 10, and there's my icon, icons dot arrow. Now you can see now for this one we don't need to import that one because we have a widget that looks close to it. Look at it, iOS here. Yeah. Now we are seeing our overflow error, so that means we need to increase our width. Aha, better. Now let's reduce the size here for this to be let's say 20. Okay. Our purple color, just like what we did for that other gray color, we're going to do the
Yes.
same for this one. Purple. Let's call it custom purple. Custom purple. Now the color over here will also be custom purple. You can see I'm not repeating what I've already written before. I just declare it once and continue. And my contributors over here, our color, we also give it custom purple. But now we can notice that here is centralized, but
Yes.
this other one is not centralized, which is easy. We're going to apply our row widget over here, main axis. We are going to centralize it, center, and it becomes centered. Or let's see if this works. A container has an alignment property within it. So alignment dot center. it aligns the child. Okay, this did not work. Let's try using a center widget on this. This also did not work. So, of course, let's go back to our main. But I'm just showing you different ways in which you can try to use different properties for you to get a result.
Yeah.
Now, I'm guessing the properties I showed you, the alignment only works with one widget, but a row contains multiple. So, yeah, it's just for you to play around to see which works and which does not work. So, yeah, I am done with the view contributors here, and let's take a look at our Figma. This is our code, and this is the Figma. You can see they look similar.
Yes.
So let me take the color property of this our text over here. Okay, it's a black text, but it has
Not that.
80 opacity. Yeah, it's not fully black. So let's go back to our post text. Where are you? You're around here. You're around here. Now let's give it a color property of color 0xx. This, yeah, this is it here. Now let's make some slight adjustments. Let's give this a font size of, let's say, 13. Let's reduce it. Let's give this 18 or 15. Okay. Now let's reduce our width here to be like, let's say, 60. Okay. You can see that everything is coming together small.
Yes.
Man, you can spend hours just modifying UI. Now this looks better than what it was previously,
Oh, yes.
and it looks closer. And I even think it even looks smaller. The smaller it is here, the better than this other one. Yeah. So that's it for today's class. You can see how all the widgets I've learned before. Basically, everything that we've talked about in terms of using variables, using functions that returns widgets, making our code clean, not repeating ourselves. You see, all those things I've learned. In fact, we even made use of classes here. We even instantiated the class so that we can have properties of this class, and we used it here. You can even see how we are making use of code that is not within our file to make it have an effect in our file by importing it over here. You can see it over here. All the things I've learned in previous classes, we've applied it here. Yeah, so any questions?
No questions from my end.
Baki?
No questions, sir.
Okay. If that's the case, I'm going to end the class here and make the video available for you guys alongside the code, of course. Okay, and yeah, just before I go, I am going to make a screenshot of this. And your assignment will be as follows. At this top over here, oh, Michael, you are at the beginning of the class. These icons here, the color, you need to make it dark to match this particular white background. In fact, let me show you back here. I don't know if you are aware, but let me come down here and make my background color to be colors.black.
What happened the whole screen?
Yeah, you can see this guy over here. The time, the Wi-Fi signal, battery, and network strength here. You can see it over here. Yeah. So the assignment will be number 1. Find a way to change these colors to be black so that my background color will not interfere with it. And your second assignment is to complete this design. That is, add this make payment and add these 2 buttons here.
Okay, boss.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to zip the code as usual and send the video and everything to the group.